The 2018 Commonwealth Innovation Forum, brought to you by Destination Gold Coast.
Christophe Lonchampt is the co-founder of Better by Sport and one of the speakers here at the Commonwealth Innovation Forum. Welcome to the forum and welcome to Brisbane.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's always sunny in Queensland, so we don't worry about the time.
Absolutely, it's awesome. And with the games there down in the Gold Coast, it's really fascinating to be here. So,
yes, of course, this forum is coinciding with the Commonwealth Games, which is really your passion, isn't it, sport? How did you come up with the concept of Better by Sport, and I guess why?
Right. So sport is really at the heart of, our revolution, I like to say, as much as health is also at the heart of our revolution. And Better by Sport really reflects this intent to, merge a lot of the ideas and innovations that exist in both realms, actually, sport and health. And our angle is really one that has been known for many years. It just hasn't been actioned. And that's the one related to what we call intramuscular stimulations. So essentially humans, in particular athletes on the Gold Coast, know that really well. When they train, they move. And obviously in their case, they need to do certain movements in a certain way and for a certain period of time, so they prepare better their events and they can reach their goals. So intramuscular stimulation is the vehicle to develop your adaptations, your physiological adaptations, as we call it. And has tremendous potential to deliver actually on the promises of human performance and well-being. In other words, if you can find ways to design a training program for individuals, whether they are elite athletes or patients, healthy patients, and give them the right level of intensity in their effort over a certain period of time, and it's really designed for their physiology, you're going to reach a level of personalization and eventually get into what we call prediction. You're going to be able actually to predict performance in a way. And performance that is not only sport performance, human performance, but also actually your own performance. What is it that, maybe your performance, Anthony, is just saying, qualitatively, I just want to, feel better when I do my 5K walk, and that's your performance objective, right? So that's what Better by Sport is aiming at, is building a software platform which in turn, will deliver service to design individualized physiological planners, and I will become your, what we call lifelong companion.
Well, speaking about my 5K walk, I do have a watch that I follow and encourages me to walk my 10,000 steps every day, which I love. Which brings me to the point about technology, because we know that sport is a science and has been for generations. But how much has technology played a role in encouraging us, and in my case, reminding me to be active throughout the day?
Right. So I think it's a terrific question, because you could actually, design all sort of technologies and be proud about it, and in fact still fail at scaling those efforts. And that's really something that we feel strong about. If you want to scale, you need to have the proper behavioral and motivational ingredients, if you want. So technology itself as a motivational or behavioral, ingredient, if you want, highly depends, in our view, on collaborations that can be at different levels. One type of collaboration is really about people's lifestyle in particular segments. And certainly there are organizations that understand these segments a lot better than we do. And collaborating within those segments, whether, give you an example, you want to deal with children obesity or teenagers obesity, or you want to deal with, at the other end of the spectrum, with, I'm going to be joking, the cricket team, wanting to perform, at a different level. It's a bit of a joke, but that's a segment, right? And the coaches, in that particular sport, will understand better the sort of motivations that in the training will be necessary. So designing a user experience, designing interfaces, designing wearables as well that are well suited to a particular segment. That's something that clearly will happen. Will have to happen. We don't believe that one type of wearable device can resolve and actually can address all segments in what we want to achieve here. So we are more, think about it, we are more of a, I would call it a back-end software platform that is absolutely open and happy to innovate with more front-end type innovations. And that's really an opportunity to work with us on that.
Is sport one of the codes that doesn't discriminate across nations, do you think?
Yeah, I think we should have said that in the first place. I think probably talked too much about better by sport. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think sport is huge. Is a magnificent gift to humans, and I think we probably need to reflect a bit more on this and attempt a redefinition of sport. That's probably another thing that Better by Sport would like to work on with different stakeholders. Physical activity itself, you could extend and say that it is actually a trigger, a sort of ignition point for someone to get into sport. And even actually you could push it and say, you know what, I used to do nothing. Now I do a bit of walk and I'm active. Every other day I do something. You're becoming a sportman. So that's what sport is. And to answer more your question about unifying, nations with sport, we see that at the Commonwealth Games. We see that every time we get athletes together. It's a huge joy. And what I think we need to do better is in the inter-events. In the inter-events, we that's where we need to reflect and sort of think about the societal design with sport and how it relates to the healthy lifestyle changes that I was talking about.
The TCIF, the Commonwealth Innovation Forum, this is the inaugural forum. How important is it to bring nations together under one roof?
Look, coming from the European Union, as you know, and having the pleasure to participate in my very first Commonwealth reunion here, I think it is necessary to bring them all together. But what I see with the Commonwealth, which is really magic, is that there is this attitude of revisiting the agenda, without complex, really. And if there were any area left out for any reason, then we revisit it. And there is this heterogeneity across nations that is also spectacular. I mean, not necessarily always, something to celebrate, obviously, but it is spectacular because you see, nations from Africa, from the Caribbean, from the Asian continent, from Europe, and here in Oceania, talking about the things that we could be doing on trade, the benefits of agriculture, and co-designing the future. I think maybe that's how we should summarize it, is that it's co-designing the future with nation specifics, but without forgetting the united intent, right? So I like that.
So do I. What do you hope delegates attending this forum, what would you like them to take away from this forum?
The one thing that you can take out of an event like this is really the people you meet and you engage with, and that's really my priority. And it doesn't have to be quantity; it's more quality. So for me, the debates and the discussions, like I said, are really cool because they tend to define areas and probably always, the challenge is, like I said, execution and outcomes and what we do with it. But if we didn't do that, we wouldn't meet people, right? So that's my priority, really, is identifying the 5 to 10 people with whom I'm going to engage potentially on different subjects.
Well, enjoy the rest of your time in sunny Queensland, because we do have the best swimmers, don't you know that, in the world?
They're absolutely some of the best swimmers, and it's always been, back in France, this sort of challenge of, who is swimming the best, really. I mean, now that I am an Australian, I can say that, I celebrate Australian medals, and I think the girls yesterday were absolutely terrific. That world record is absolutely incredible, and I'm really pleased for them. And look, lucky that France is not part of Commonwealth. No, I'm joking.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers.